today we're actually celebrating. It's been Minority Mental Health Month, all July. And I don't know how people, I mean, a celebration is when you're in a state of, I guess, being thankful for something. But I don't know, as minorities, as Black individuals, how would you celebrate Mental Health Month? Because I know there's certain things that we do for ourselves, that we do for self-care, maybe every week or every day. There's something that you have to do. Some people work out. Some people have to have a smoothie in the morning. Like for myself, I have a drink that I make every morning. I have to have it every morning. Otherwise, my day doesn't go right. It's a mental thing. So today we asked one of our good friends to join us.
Welcome.
She's a transformational
back.
life
Thank
coach
you.
and speaker. So we wanted her to come here and talk to us and just give us some good little gems that can help us, navigate life, because life is difficult. There's so many things happening. I think after COVID, it brought out a lot of mental health issues that we didn't know that people were suffering. And now we see a lot of it coming to light. So we just wanted to, do a little part of our own and say something. So if you don't mind, Janice, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, they just put out my government name as Janice. Hi, everyone, and happy Wednesday. I go by JLeAnn. And as she mentioned, transformational coach and speaker. I literally love to, and I'm here to amplify life and to help change the world by helping people change their world. Because I wholeheartedly believe that sometimes we're looking at everyone and the world, and honestly, certain places we'll never touch. But somebody who we have to touch every day is in our world, in ourselves, and in the people that we're connected to. And so I assist people through coaching and helping them get from point A to point B so that they're living their best life in their world. So I'm happy to be here today, and I'm so glad that they asked me to come for minority mental health awareness, because honestly, I don't think we talk about it enough. And in that talk, like, there's another name for it that I don't even know if we know. Did y'all know that?
What is it?
Did y'all even know that there was somebody that they inducted this name after? Do you know who the person was?
No, who is it?
Okay. Yes, you're right. Bebe Moore Campbell. And I think that just is already a nugget. You talking about dropping nuggets. That's a nugget right there at the reality of when we are more aware about why things were instituted, we have a connection to it that gives us more empowerment to want to carry out the thing. And so Bebe Moore, this day was actually instituted, or the month rather, was actually instituted in her honor. And she was an author. She got a whole lot of books, y'all. I encourage you to look them up because you get to learn more about her. But she was an author. She was a journalist. She was a teacher. But the thing that really helmed this day for her was she was a mental health advocate. Now, what was really kind of high about her story is she transitioned from this earth in 2006 due to brain cancer. And so what really started her journey of wanting to help us with minority mental health was she had personal experiences in her family with mental illness family members. And so out of that, this day was recognized in 2008, and now we see it today out of her struggle and her experience. And I just wanted to just start this conversation off like that because, I'm looking at these people that are joining and everything. How many of y'all know that? And then when we know that, how many of us care about it, right? So that's the other thing about mental health. How many of us all say self-care is important? Everybody. But how many of us live like self-care is important?
Very true.
Very true. We work too much.
Yes. We don't live like it's true. And so really mental health awareness is about that awareness of how we have yes, shortages and disparities and healthcare access. And yes, we have limitations, and we need assistance from all of the racial trauma, the discrimination, and the various things that we experience in our Black experience. But what I encourage people in is, again, not going after all of those major things before you have overcame yourself. And those are things that we can do something about. I can do something every day about what I ingest. I can do something every day about what I just hear, what I just hear, what I just hear, what I just on my body. Like, I can do something about that every day. That is nobody else's responsibility but mine.
Right.
And so I encourage people in their mental health journey to even change that construct of feeling like that's everybody else's responsibility. Like, you let them in your space, boo-boo. You put them right there. Like, you are the one that's not allowing this to be what it's supposed to be. And because of that, there's sometimes why we're in situations that we're in. And so I encourage people to embrace this journey in love, embrace this journey with a heart and desire, like, dang, okay, I realize this is about to be something I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. And as a result of what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, I want to approach that in this manner.
Right. But why do you think we don't talk about mental health? As minorities, we always see, other cultures talk about, I'm in therapy for this, I'm in therapy for that, but we don't talk about it. I've been in therapy. I love to talk about it because it actually helped me. So I actually wish I had started therapy a lot sooner. Right. But nobody was talking about it. So I never thought I needed it.
Well, I'm in therapy. I'm going to stay in therapy, and probably until I go to eternity, I'm going to be in therapy. So I am an advocate about therapy because it is something that is not supposed to be reactive more than it is to help us be proactive. And I think that we don't go about it because we are stigmatized.
That is very
We are letting the stigma stop us from going after our mental health. And that is not something that necessarily everybody else has created. But when you look at our Black experience and some of all the respects that they put statistics on, they try to show us behind on everything. And so this is just another thing that we're not getting the access and the care and everything to, which is why I don't like to talk about that more than I like to talk about what we should be doing about it. So, I think that's why. I think that it's the reality of the stigma. And when you look at the stigma means disgrace. So at the core level of what that definition is, I feel like therapy or getting help is a disgrace. You don't necessarily say that out loud, but because you don't pursue it and you think about it the way you think about it, something in you could be feeling and battling that thought process. Like, this is a shameful thing. This is something I should feel guilty about. But that's because you have the wrong mindset of health and mental health. All it is, y'all, because we be trying to make it deep, okay? All mental health relates to the mind, and health speaks to a state, a being, or a condition at the base level. So when you think about what you're going after and achieving mental health, when you think about that, you're relating this to your mind. So you're talking about, I am continuously forever going to be working to improve, to grow, to be my best self and my best state of myself mentally, my best state of myself being, and my best state of my condition. That's really, if you think about it like that, you didn't already did like cartwheels and leaped over bounds because you get it. Like, you're not going after this because you have a problem. That's what's wrong. Like, we think about mental health as a problem. We didn't say mental illness. We said mental health. Mental health is an exciting thing. This is you taking care of your mind, your mind state, your mind being, your mind condition. This is good for you. What are you talking about? Like, how you don't want to go to somebody and talk about what's good for you? What? Like, where they do that
at?
And even just going to therapy, it gives you a new insight. Imagine if you have dreams or you have desires and you have you have talents that you might not have been aware of, but when you start verbalizing it to someone who can say, oh, did you realize that you're A, B, C, and
Right.
D? Did you realize that your thought process is like this? And a lot of times we're blocking our own blessings because of how we think, because our minds are held hostage in whatever society has said about us, whatever maybe relationships you've had, how they're, everything is a chain. And sometimes talking to someone else
gives you a
can
different
help you
perspective.
release.
Yes. Yeah. And really, what we do repeatedly is what leads to the believability in what we live like. I know we don't like to think that, but it is true. what I end up doing all the time. So if I'm like always ruminating, if I'm always thinking something's bad, if I'm always feeling bad about myself, if I'm always talking negative to myself, if I'm always doing all these things, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to believe it.
Right.
And once I believe it, I behave like it.
Right.
So some of this stuff, and I'm not against saying there are no disorders. I'm not against saying some people don't need medication. Okay. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that sometimes we go to those extremes when a lot of things could be corrected at the mental level of things if we just talk to somebody and talk it
with the
through and work it out.
conversation.
Yes, you're right. Sometimes you just need to walk through it and, discover new things about yourself. But, we can talk about, going to therapy all day, but I mean, there are some challenges too, right? Some people can afford it. Some people don't know where to go to find, the resources to get therapy. And, some of us are very lucky that, we can get it through our insurance and all that. But, are there resources for people that can't afford it? Where do people go? Like, I
Great
don't
question.
know that.
Yeah, there are. Are they limited? Yes. So I'll
Of
be honest
course.
with that. Are they limited? Yes. Because there are limitations and limits than the little ones that we do have, because sometimes be over consuming. So in and with that, I never want to paint the picture that right when somebody reaches out for help, that means somebody's going to be on the other line to pick it right up. That's not reality. And so I never want to foster that to anybody, but I do encourage people to not let that stop them. And now they have opened up so many more channels of opportunity to get online type help at a reasonable, like better help and some things like that. So at a reasonable price that are also connected to you on that level that are being successful for people. So I would encourage anybody that's really serious to start just with that kind of search in their area. And if you're connected to anyone professionally, if you have employment and you're connected to anyone professionally, sometimes it's not so much about asking the HR than it is asking your coworker.
Right.
Or asking a family member that doesn't have challenges, asking them, and if not, if you have any type of other outlet, that means sisterhoods. You got fraternities, you got sororities. We have those who are faith of faith. So check with your faith household and see what resources are available. What I encourage and what I found is I found that people that continue to seek find. And that is across the board. People who really want change go after it. So I don't really buy to it. That's the coach in me. But I don't buy excuses because they excuse you out of doing what you're supposed to do. So I'm not saying that there are not limitations. I'm not saying that everything will be easy and there will be no challenges and it will not be difficult. But I am saying that people who really want help and really want change don't stop when they don't hear from somebody that one time, or don't stop when whatever. And they also try to do everything that's available for free. That's another thing. Like, that's always a question when I'm working with somebody in the beginning. Like, okay, so tell me what you've been doing. Tell me what you have done. Like, you're not about to come in here and act like, oh, the world is crumbling and nothing's working in my favor. Well, where are
But
you
you haven't
working
done
direct?
anything.
Come
Right.
on. And so I don't judge you for that. But what I do challenge people to do is think about that for yourself, because I am so about intrinsic versus extrinsic. So I'm so about getting that internal motive pure. Because once you got it on the inside of you, ain't not gonna stop you. But if something like me or a therapist and everything else has to be the one that helps you get everything you need to get in life, you don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just saying you, I would say me. I don't want it. If everybody else had to be the thing, Tino, that made me get up and make my smoothie, I wouldn't make it.
Right.
I make my smoothies because I enjoy making my smoothies. I make my smoothies because I like how they make me feel. I make my smoothies because I've been successful in releasing 200 pounds. I make my smoothies because of what they do for me. I don't make them because Tina looking in my, in my house saying, oh, girl, did you make them today? No, I literally internally have done the work to where I enjoy them. And I want people to get encouraged and hype and geeked about that when it comes to their mental health. You going from point A to point B, not being cuckoo for cuckoo puffs. Let's celebrate that.
It really is important. Like today, for example, I love working out. It just gives me a release. Whether I do 30 minutes or I do 45 or I do an hour. But I never do more than that because I don't want to lie to myself, and I'm not going to waste the gym time pretending that I'm in here doing something. But today, I was so tired. I work a lot. I went to the gym, got to the gym, opened my car door, looked through my phone, and then I said, you know what? Today, I'm not the one. I'm not the one today. I shut my door. I put my little Chick-fil-A order, and I went to pick up my dinner because I was tired. Not only am I physically, I was also mentally tired. So I recognize that in myself that, you know what? I do enjoy this. I love it. It makes me feel good. But today I can't.
But not today.
Not today.
Right.
And I had to acknowledge myself that there's something in you that's telling you today is a no. You made the effort. Yes, you do love powerful. It. But you also have to recognize when you're in that space of limitation, in the sense of I just can't do it today, and not limitation that you're in a sense of laziness. But you have to listen to your body and to your mind of what's going on, because I know had I walked in, what I was going to do is I was going to be on this device the entire time, watching what other people are doing.
That's hilarious.
So those are things that sometimes you have to listen to yourself, that, you know what, this is right for me, this is not right for me today. Absolutely. And don't feel guilty. I don't feel guilty at all. I said, kudos to you. Let's go home, have dinner, take a nap, because I know I have to be here.
Okay, so let's do a check-in. How you feel?
I feel great.
Amen.
Had I not come home,
that was self-care in itself.
That's
exactly.
That's
because
it.
my mentals wouldn't have been right. I would
You
have been
took
off.
care of yourself.
I would have been speaking right. It would have been a hot mess. So
self-care.
We just have to, even the littlest things. If there's a lemonade you like, go get it. You might need to get the diet one or the light one or extra ice, but go get it.
All in moderation, right? All in moderation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I really want to say is, as Black women, you know how there's the term strong Black women, and that chain of we're supposed to be strong. We can't falter. We can't be weak. We have to hold the entire world on our shoulders. And then having to seek help, but then not finding someone who can relate to us. And it's not anything against anyone, but when I was looking for a therapist, I was looking for a Black female. I was not searching, not that anyone can't understand what I'm saying, but I needed someone else who can relate to what I was dealing with and the journey that I was going on. And when I found her, to be honest, it really was enlightening, because I didn't have to over-explain, or I didn't have those, usually when a therapist tilts their head and they're confused, I didn't have that. She knew exactly what I was saying and would lead me down the path that I'm trying to go on. So what are your thoughts on navigating therapy as a Black woman?
I definitely know that it is it is specific to the Black woman. And we need to allow that to be okay. We need to create the space to allow that to be okay. And I say that because there are others that I know that actually feel the exact opposite from you. And they don't want a Black therapist. And they are Black. So I say that to say that it's specific to the person. And I would say, know your need and know what you're looking for and find the one that matches it. But the other point, to your point, is as we talked about it earlier, as we let go of and get over the stigma, once we actually see what mental health is really about, which is a good thing and not mental illness and sickness, when we see what it really is, we would have more of us going to the field. So I think it's twofold. I think we need to know what we need as a person who's looking for help and match that need to the right therapist that can help. But we also need to get aware and educated in such a way that there are more of us that are helping one another. Like we need them doing both. That's my way to navigate it. My way to navigate is to know your need and match it, because some people don't need a therapist. Some people need a coach. And some people, and vice versa. So everybody doesn't necessarily need a therapist per se. So depending on what it is they're working through.
Discern that.
Good question. So when you're looking at a coach is speaking more to a skill set, a certain skill set that's assisting you in an area that you're wanting to change, build, or excel in. Okay. And so more so you could think about it like a point A to point B type person. They're getting you to reach another level to achieve. When you look at those who are we'll take sports because that's easy. Everybody can understand that. You get a coach, it's because they're supposed to take you to the next level in that sport. So when you think about a life coach, what are they doing? They take you to the next level in your what? Life. So, and if I do it in my career, they're taking me to the next level in my career. So coaches are specific to what you're trying to go after. When you're thinking about counseling and a counselor, you're really getting someone, and that doesn't mean that coaches don't get trained, because coaches should still have some type of certification. Okay. But counselors get more education, more 9 times out of 10 they have a vast knowledge base, and with that knowledge base they are trained to guide you so that you're at your highest psychosocial functioning possible. In that they offer counseling, and so they're dealing with, and they would look at past traumas and walk you through the steps and process. Sometimes you be more specific on, we're going to do this for 6 months, 2 times a week. Coaching may not be that. Coaching, you may not need that. And so that's how you can kind of decipher. Am I needing real deep heart work where I'm going back to my childhood of what I went through? Or am I needing, okay, I know where I'm at, but I'm to the place that I don't know where to go next. When you're able to decipher that, you kind of know what to pull on. And for me, I say get a boat. But that's me. But again, that's if you want to invest, because I hear a lot of people too say they can't afford it. And I take myself on journeys where I assess my budget, but more than my budget, I assess my spending in general. I'm talking about spending from my mental to my heart to my money and everything. And when you look at it and you add it all up, we be having some money in there, y'all.
True.
I ain't say we have millions. I ain't say everybody got millions, but I said we have some money in there. And so how much is your mental health worth to you? That's the question I ask people. How much is you getting to the next level because you're tired of being stuck worth to you? If it's worth something, you need to invest in it. And you think about it from the place of, I heard it said kind of like this, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but this point was powerful. When people are setting the skill, whether it be counselor, coach, whatever, okay, a person can generally never pay them their full value. You can't never pay me fully for what I carry. Okay, you can't. You just can't. And that's not me being boastful or conceited. That's the truth. because it's not a monetary thing that you could just pay me on like that. But what you can do for your own self is invest in what you carry.
Exactly.
And so when you talk about mental health, and when you talk about counselor, or when you talk about therapist, when you talk about coach, think about it like that. Think about it like, I'm investing in my life, because you are. I'm investing in what I carry, because you are. And so when you do it like that, you're eliminating the excuses of, I'm Black and nobody wants to hear me. You're eliminating the excuses of, I got the mad Black woman syndrome and nobody wants to be with me. Like, you're not thinking like that. You're coming from a place of, I see where I'm at. I want healing and help, and I'm going after it to get it. That's what you're saying. It's a totally different approach. And I encourage people to know that they're worth that approach, because mental health is something that everyone has, or it's something that everybody can attain. It's worth caring for. It's our responsibility. It's changeable, and it's possible to have great mental health. It is. I'm telling you, it is. I used to be cuckoo for Cuckoo Puffs, but I'm not anymore. See, Tino, haven't I changed? She ain't gonna. Oh, I guess I didn't. She didn't say that.
Wait a minute.
Did you see that, doctor?
Don't put me on the spot on these people's internet.
Okay. All right. No, I was just trying to get you involved. Wink, wink.
I think
we don't see the cuckoo. It's okay. Right. We see more than that radiating from you. Good. And we see important. Somebody with good mental health, who takes care of themselves, who you I can tell that self-care is your thing, right?
It really is. It really is. She has come a long way, as all of us have. I think when you start to prioritize yourself, mentally, physically, and spiritually, you change, you evolve, and you become a place. You get to a place where people want to be around you. That you have more discussions with people. Absolutely. You give, but you don't give to an extent that you're burnt out. And I think Janice has really evolved to a place where she's a well-rounded, that I call Janice all the time. She catches me off the ledge a lot of times. She catches me off a ledge a lot of times when I want to address something and do it in a way that's not going to be respectable to myself or respectable to that person. Because at the end of the day, mental health is being able to respect yourself.
It is. Absolutely. It is.
So I have to find ways of, okay, maybe if you do it this way instead of that way, you might catch, more flies with honey than the approach you want to take. So you've really come a long way. You've helped me. And even in our friendship, we've grown a lot. I've known you about 10 years?
Has it been? That feels like longer, but it's at least been that. Yeah.
It's at least a decade. So in that decade, we've grown so much, and I learned so much from you every day. Your tenacity, just every day is just a joy to have you in my life, because as we get older, honestly, you realize the people that are actually in your life, mental health, friendship, the people you have in your life are either going to make you or break you.
Yeah,
and that's one thing. Right, that's one thing. Like, I've been in a season where it's unfortunate some people had to drop off because for my mental health, it wasn't good. I wasn't being successful in those relationships because of how they were set up. So you have to honestly, you want good mental health, figure out how to either make the relationships here in better or make new ones.
Yeah. And the ones that you figure that out and assess that with is yourself first.
Ooh.
And that's what I always say. Mental health calls for you to be what you need first.
Right.
This is why everybody's not going after it. Because it's looking after you. And we just aren't good at doing that. And that's from our culture. That's from our experience as Black people. That's from then what we're taught in our families. So we get that.
It's selfish.
Right. So So mental
It's
health
selfish.
and really going after it is a whole construct where you really put yourself in right priority. And that's why it's so hard for people. And I'm not trying to say it ain't gonna be hard. I'm just trying to show you that it's possible. You know, and when I said cuckoo for Cuckoo Puffs, that wasn't to offend anybody and not even myself, but it was to say that I used to have a state of poor mental health, meaning I used to not pay attention to it. And as a result, I did things that would be categorized as off, just off, just not healthy, not pure, not good. And in that, like Tino said, the return was not poor, was poor and not good. And when we get ourselves in the right place, we can have a better life. And that's what mental health is all about. It's about you taking care of your mind, getting your mind in a healthy state, get your mental in a good being, and get your mental in a good condition. That's all health is. Mental health is.
Yeah, it is. Woo! You guys, this is a good topic because I realize for myself when I do all the things that I like, that I enjoy. And one thing I discovered is I like being not by myself. I need people, but I also don't need people. I need that time where I can recalibrate myself so I can be good for you. So if it's a weekend where I'm sitting on my couch and I'm watching movie after movie, I'm reading my little quotes and doing this and doing that, then I can come back to you whole and full, and I can give more to you, and you can pour into me, and we can go vice versa. But it just, I feel like our communities are really struggling. Like, you know how you see these videos on Instagram and Black women are shouting in the airport. Was there a different way of handling that? Could you have, and that's when that you have to question, is she that mental health?
Yeah.
Because I see those videos too many times, or even not even, okay, for example, the fight that happened with the lady who ended up shooting the man.
The fight that happened, you know, I don't be keeping up with that. See, that's what if anybody prays and prays right now, but that this social media, me getting because I don't be hearing about stuff. So
So
yeah, what
there was a
happened?
guy, there was a man at a restaurant, and there was a lady. She was there with her son. So they had a difference of an opinion, I guess.
Okay.
And the man was violent towards her. He punched her several times. So the lady got her son to shoot him. Now, there's a lot happening there. Not only is there's domestic violence, and there's anger, misplaced judgment. As a community, how do we end up, like, even here in Indianapolis, the crime rate is unbelievable in certain areas. And it never used to be like that. What are the causes that nobody is talking? We're quick to pick a weapon. What is it that's taking over?
Did you say what are the causes? Is that what you
What
said?
do we do?
Well, I mean, I can't, of course, speak for every cause because there's many of them. But in generality, when we are bitter, angry, sad, when we are these things, when we have anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation, meaning the change in ambivalence of wanting to live and not wanting to live. When we are broken as people, anything is inevitable. Okay. And so when my sanctity or my care for life as a person, me, is not to the level it needs to be, what makes you think I'm gonna care about yours? I can't hear you. I can't get no response.
Disregard for
Exactly.
human life.
But it comes out of yourself is what I'm trying to. It's from yourself, which is why you have to mind your mental health.
Right.
So you're not out here lashing out on other people.
You're right. You're right. But I mean, okay, so, lashing out. I mean, what advice would you give for people on how to deal with their emotions?
Well,
I mean,
some people don't know there's a such thing as relational and emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the average person, again, is not one to figure out those things. They don't want to take the time to learn how to manage them. But those types of things are what coaches, therapists, and counselors do. They help you manage your emotions. But even before you're at that level, things that you can do on your own time, in your own space is, and I know people, and this can be man or female, doesn't matter what race, but some stuff, because you cannot and should not sometimes voice it out loud, depending on what it is, there is other forms. You can write it.
mm,
And I know people say journaling, okay, in journal, and people think kind of that's a female thing only,
No.
but it's
it's
not.
not.
When it comes to journaling, all we're speaking about is expression.
Right.
One thing that I've learned that I love to do to express myself is I love claying. I love to do like pottery and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have never known that if I didn't practice it and figure it
Right.
and try it one day. And so what I encourage people to do is when people don't have a hobby, we gonna go on a journey as part of our thing to find it. We're gonna find you one. Because if it ain't that, it may be painting. If it ain't painting, it may be race car driving. If it ain't race car driving, it may be playing cards. And I don't mean playing the cards where you end up shooting somebody. But I'm just saying, whatever it is, we need to find you a healthy way to express yourself and to enjoy yourself. So that is one way that doesn't charge other people, that you can do yourself to get things out. And you mentioned, Tino, exercise. And a lot of times when it comes to physical health, we only think about it from the perspective of losing weight. But physical health is key to all of our levels when it comes to our hormones and everything functioning appropriately.
Right.
That's why you can tell somebody, just go for a walk for 15 minutes. Come back. Just come back when you get it. Go to walk 15 minutes. I guarantee you're going to feel better. And they say, oh my gosh, the endorphins kicked in. Them bad boys, they got them things got together and they release some things. And so what I'm saying is sometimes in certain situations, Dr. T, honey, we got to just walk away. Literally walk away. I mean, there's sometimes.
Or run away.
There's sometimes you have to do that. And so it really is a matter of, hold on for just a second. It really is a matter of that. How bad you want it.
Yeah.
How bad you want it. How bad you want it. And if
Are
you
you
really
tired?
yeah.
Yeah.
And my encouragement, which is why I try to tell people to be proactive, my encouragement is stop waiting until you get tired. Stop waiting until you get burnt out. You don't go to a therapist because you're tired. I didn't go to a therapist when my life was falling apart. This is why I believe my life is intact, because I didn't wait until I was, literally to nothing. I found out that there's some things that wasn't working right. And I said, before I get to a place that's going to cause me to pick up something I don't need to pick up, before I get to a place to hurt me in a way that I'm not supposed to when I'm supposed to love me, I should go talk to somebody about this.
Right.
And sometimes therapy, counseling, coaching, those types of things are for when we need to just go to our next level, period. There's some of us that are entrepreneurs, professional, businessmen and women. We need to do that.
Right.
We need to just do that to know where we're going next. Like, that helps us to our next. Like, it don't have to be nothing's wrong with you. You just right here and you want to go to your next. So you talk to somebody about it, you think through it, and it helps you get your strategy to be your best self.
Right. And we have to get out of that. Oh, that's just how I am. Or that's how we grew up.
Right.
And open up your mentals. Because when you have those blocks where, well, I'm not changing because that's how I grew up, that just not, it's not going to elevate you in anything.
Right. Right.
Wow.
So that, I think that's what I encourage people to do. Get serious about caring for your emotional, your psychological, your social well-being. And I say that because it truly influences your daily life, your relationships, your physical health. All of it is impacted by it. And so I encourage you to know what minority mental health awareness is about. Know who created it. Know why it exists, because we talked about that, y'all, in the beginning. Know why it exists and know what you can do about it. Enjoy your journey. Recognize the roots. Go get help if you need it. Honor and establish boundaries. Meditate if you need to. I do. Get your sleep. Have a routine for breaking down your day. Manage your nutrition and exercise. And I mean, the other thing that I would say is volunteer somewhere too, because when you volunteer, when you do something that doesn't give, that you're not getting something back, but you're literally giving, that positive contribution to society and others has an enormous impact on your mental health. And so I know people don't really talk about that one, but I always like to say that, you know, if I can't get it in and whatever I'm talking about, volunteer, do something where you're giving out of yourself. And then, like you said, Tino, unplug, you know, monitor your consumption and know when you don't need to go to the gym. Know when you do need to drink a lemonade. Know when you do need to shut down the phone. Like my phone has already given me my reminder, because mine's on at 8:30. My reminder that said it's time to wind down. Oh yeah, I play
At 8:30.
because I used to. I
I
told
thought I
you
was doing good at 10:30.
you heard me when I said I used to be, because I had horrible sleeping patterns and I was just, oh my gosh. And so I set it up that way to where 8:30 this thing hits. And that's why when you was like asking me, I'm like, girl, she better hurry up, because 8:30 my thing reminds me, it says, JLeAnn, it's time to wind down. Now, it don't tell me to go to bed yet. It is okay to not be okay at times. It don't tell me to go to bed yet, but it says wind down. And then I get that 9 o'clock thing that say lights out. And, and I love it. I love it now. Like I love it because it's really helped me manage and monitor and maintain my health and my well-being in such a space and place where my body is like this, in a place that it's never been before. I keep a book by my little table, my little nightstand, and I make sure I have this little light, y'all, this little light. You know, because when you read stuff, it calm you down anyway, especially because if you ain't a reader like that. But I have this music I'll turn on, and it's just music. It's not no words or nothing. I'll have that on. I let that soothe me. Then I read my book. I read a chapter, and guess what, y'all? Done. I mean, I do mental night dumps and all of that because I didn't do that, and I saw how that affected me. I saw how that really didn't allow me to be to my best self. And after I started doing that, I started feeling better. So I encourage y'all, like, for real, give yourself and your body the opportunity to feel the difference and the challenge. Like, seriously, I cannot tell you how much that changed my health journey. Like, it wasn't like I went to somebody and looked it up and said, I'm going to be a vegan now. I'm going to be this now. I'm going to be that now. No. That's not how it works for me. What I did was like, okay, you're about to try to cut out some things and see what that feels like for you. And I said, oh, okay, cut out and see what it feel like. Okay. And the first time I was cutting, you talk about headaches, you talk about mood swings, you talk about cuckoo. I mean, just off. But after I got over that, I was charting, y'all. You talked about emotions, Dr. T. I was charting my emotions. And I was like, I actually feel better. Wait a minute. Ain't no mental fog. Wait a minute. And then I started monitoring my sleep because I did get a certification in sleep science. But I started monitoring my sleep, and my clock tells me, and it's like, your heart rate and your heart dip was great today. And that stuff started hitting me and making me feel good. And I noticed that when I ate certain things, my heart was off, literally. And then when I said, oh, but when I eat this way, it don't do that. Oh, so I should probably eat that way. And so I encourage people to take themselves through that. Take themselves
Right.
Yourselves through that. Don't let anybody label and put on you, you need to eat like this, you need to eat like that, you need to do this, you need to do that. You're black, you're supposed to act like that. You black, you're supposed to respond like this. No, you need to get the right perspective for your life, for you.
Right, because mental health begins at home.
Come on, in your
so
head, in your head.
Simple things, like simple things. You know, I always laughed at a friend of mine. They never made their bed in the morning, and I'm like, honey, if you make your bed, imagine when you come back and you pull those covers back, and the sheets are crisp. That's gonna make a difference on how you're gonna relate to yourself in that day. And I never understood it. Things like making your bed, doing the dishes, making sure that your space is in a respectable way where it's not cluttered. And I know sometimes depression, people who are depressed, a lot of times it can be a mess because they just can't get to that place mentally where it's like, I know I need to clean, but I don't feel like it. I don't have the energy. My mood is not right. But in general, when you start making those small steps towards getting better, it
compound.
Honestly, it all starts to change. So really, mental health does begin at home before you even get to a point where you're looking for a life coach, where you're looking for a therapist.
You
because
got, like
a lot of
you said, you're so right, Tino. And I'm not even trying to cut you off, but it's like until you realize that health is something that's good for you and something you're supposed to go after, that next phase of how you go about it is going to be affected. You're right. You're right.
You're right. And you know, like you were talking about, so I've been listening to audiobook, The Compound Effect.
Okay.
And what you're talking about, I was just literally listening to the part about journaling and looking at your behaviors and your patterns and whatever it is that you decide to look at, whether it's your eating habits or something, your TV watching habits, jot them down so you can actually see. Because when you think about it, you don't really think that, you know, you're playing games on your phone for, 6 hours a day because you're on there for 30 minutes, you're on there for an hour. But when you do jot it down and you actually see what you're doing, your habits, then it's much easier to change, and that's how you know where to make your changes.
Absolutely.
Right? Yep.
Absolutely.
And
you're right.
Yeah, and the same thing with what Tino was saying, just when you see the little things that you do making the bed. We're literally having that conversation just yesterday with Shamika about making the bed, and she was like, okay, I'm going to make sure you make your bed in the morning, and I said, I'll make sure you make your bed in the morning. So in the morning when I'm walking out, she says, did you make your bed today? You know what I'm saying? So when I walk in my room, when I come home, I'm like, oh, whew, it feels fresh in here. It doesn't feel cluttered. It doesn't feel like my emotions are all piled up on my bed or my floor or any of that. So the little things that you do, the compound effect, take it one day at a time, bit by bit, whatever you decide to make changes in your area, in your life, what areas you want to make in your life. So, this has been amazing. And we have comments in the chat. Sharon was saying, she wrote, I'm loving this. Mental health is often disregarded in the Black community worldwide.
Yes, thank you for sharing that.
Yes. Yeah. And she says it's okay not to be okay at times. It's okay. It's not, you're not crazy if you're not okay.
Right. You don't always have to be holding up the entire world trying to pretend. Right. Because a lot of times that breaks you down even more than
it's
what you were actually going through.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And I mean, and to your point, Dr. Taffy, I think that it's so important to what you said that we were doing with the compound effect, because the reality is what's fed grows.
That is true.
Period. Whatever that is. So if I'm feeding my depression, what's growing? Depression.
Grows.
Whatever I'm feeding is what's growing on me. And when you take that power back When you understand, that's what's it like when you get that about nutrition and health and all of that stuff, it changed your whole health walk, don't it, Tino?
It really
Like
does,
this ain't the
honestly.
doctor. The doctor don't have to tell me I'm at risk for obesity and all this. I don't even need to hear all that, homie. Like I know for myself that when I feed goodness to me, goodness is produced out of me. Period. Period. Like you said, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I don't have to do 2 hours to feel successful. My success is that I engaged in joyful body movement, which is what I call exercise, in my body. That's my success. My success is I did it.
Right.
Don't judge me for how long I did it. My
Very
success
true.
is that I did it. And especially when you got the black on us, then you got the big on you. So I done had 2 BBs. I got one more. I will get 3 strikes you out. You know, but I got the black, and then I got the big, okay? And then so you got more labels, right?
Oh yeah.
And then people just label you like, because you're this, you can't do that.
Right.
And I was like, who said not?
Right.
Who said what?
Right.
I mean, and that's what really began to motivate me to do races. I don't do races because I'm trying to prove anything to anybody else. I'm trying to let myself know that myself has the strength and capacity, no matter what size I am, to extend it to the level that it can be extended. And so I just encourage people to feed goodness, feed your mental health, and you won't have to worry about sickness and illness and mental health. But if you feed what they're feeding us, which is, the stats on how many African American women and men got mental illness, and they giving us constant reminders of the disparities, constant reminders of the things that we don't have access to. If that's all you're being filled with all the time and being fed with, that makes you think that you can't change. And so you have to look at it and know that the system has an agenda. You take responsibility and don't be part of the statistic, is what I encourage people to do, because they have an agenda. They have an agenda to pour a message on a people and to make a light, whether it be negative or whatnot. They have that. But what are we doing? What are you going to do? What can you do every day? And then how can what you do every day influence your sphere of influence? So your people at your job, your family members, your friends, and anyone else that you encounter in life, that's what you got control over, boo-boo. And as you continue to do that, the world can change because you are changing the world around you.
Right. One person at a time. One person at a time. And the one person begins with you.
Yes, let it be you.
The one person begins with you. Nobody else. And you can't. I think a lot of times we wait for a superhero. There's no hero. Everyone
heavyweight champion of my world.
Sometimes you have to save yourself in certain situations, and that's okay. And then when you're done saving yourself, you go to Taffy and say, "Whoo, girl, let me tell you,
what happened?
Be Superwoman in A, B, and C." Now you can let it out, and then you can give examples of what you did, and you don't even know you've helped Taffy. Now Taffy can move on and say, I was talking to so and so, they did A, B, and C. Now it's moving on. It's a chain reaction. And that's how we rebuild our community, because sometimes we don't, honestly, we're suffering, but we don't have to suffer. Because if we unite, we stand strong together.
Listen,
that means that I have to talk to you, Tino.
Exactly.
That means that I have to actually engage with you, which I just applaud that over these years we've been intentional about making sure that we connect with one another on another level of growth. Like where we were 10 years ago is definitely not where we are now. And so all of our conversations, all that has changed, but we're encouraging you for yourself to know who you are. And after you know that, get with people and surround yourself with people who's going to ensure that you have the healthiest lifestyle as possible.
Right.
That's what we're telling you. That's what we're trying to encourage you to do, to know that this thing is possible, know that you can change your mental health, know that you don't have to be stressed, bamboozled and confused all the time. You can do something about managing your stress. And people don't want to hear that, but you can. Like, I understand and I hear you when you say, I don't understand like I know because I'm experiencing what you experience, but I'm saying I hear what people say when they say, I've got this and I've got this and I got 10 kids. And after the 10 kids, I got 2 jobs and my relationship is on. I mean, people give you all of these things. And at the end of the day, because of all of those things, oftentimes they then neglect themselves, and they can say, well, how can I do all that and not? But then you can have somebody else in a similar situation that's excelling. What's the difference? If they got the same amount of money, same situation per se, what's the real difference? It's got to be something here,
right.
and it's got to be something there, and it's got to be people who to engage in another level of mental health, because everything else is hinged upon it. Everything.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Whew, that's incredible. Incredible. Listen, I know who to reach out to as well. So don't be surprised when I'm in your DMs, when some
Honey,
of our
come on in
guests
the
are in
room.
your
Come on in
DMs.
the room. I am here. I am here.
Taffy,
And I
you
don't
don't
mean to
need to
say
go to
that.
the DMs. I'll send you her phone number
That's
direct.
it, honey.
There
Call
we go.
a
Thank you.
direct connect. A direct connect. And thank you to all of those. I see some that started following. Thank you so much. I promise you. Let me watch that promise. I am working. Cause see, I can retract. We being transparent and real here. But I
Uh-huh.
am working to be more social. That's what I'm saying. Not because I'm not social. Tino, no. I talk and I engage, but I love direct, and I'm really working
Mhm.
on being more intentional about sharing things like this and helping us feel more comfortable about our mental health and getting excited about it and enjoying working on it. Like,
Mhm.
I want to get more involved with showing people how to do that. And so I thank anybody who's going to join me on that journey.
And we hope you come back, so we can talk more about,
Yeah,
other areas and
exactly.
some of the other
Stress,
things that
honey.
you
Let's do
do.
stress. Do one where we could do stress.
We
Today,
Stress.
can.
that's my thing.
Yes.
We have like Friday night pop-ins. Maybe
Okay.
one
Yes.
time we can do a pop-in and just talk about stress because
Yeah.
you know, I COVID really brought out some things that we didn't know
Yes.
about.
Mm-hmm.
And life has just become a little more tense.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to go through suffering.
Mm-mm.
There's a
Mhm.
lot of things that you can do by yourself at home to change your circumstances and to change your
Mhm.
mental.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
So
many things we can do on our own to lower and level. I would say that because it's not always about lowering, but there's so many things we can do to lower and level our adrenal glands,
Mhm.
our cortisol levels, adrenaline. There are so many things we can do, and from eating to practicing mental health. There's a lot of tools and things that are out there, and I definitely would love to talk more about that on one of these times down the road, if y'all would have me,
Yes.
because the
Of
Zim
course.
ladies be doing they thing, honey. Shout out for Engage. What is hold on? Engage, elevate, and empower. Is that it?
Yep.
yes.
What? Come on. Yes. So y'all be about your business, and I appreciate you all, what you all are bringing to the community, not just with mental health awareness, but just with us in general, having the conversations. So thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That
Thank
really is our heart. We just
you.
wanted to
Yes.
talk.
I
We
can
we
tell,
just
like, and I love it. I love the vibe, like so many times, especially when I have to talk in other spaces and places. They're so formal, and I love how we just bounce off. What I would suggest, like, we need one where we all in the same vicinity. That would be
Yes.
fire.
Let's do
Ah,
it.
that would be fire. That would be fire.
Let's do it.
I'm telling you that
definitely will set something up.
that would be
Um,
amazing. Ah, yeah, that would be
so
dope.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, buddy, for coming on and for
Mm-hmm.
blessing us. And
Thank you.
we will definitely thank you for everyone who has joined in
They did all
today.
those hearts, Tino.
Yes.
So that means make that happen.
Thank you for
That's
the
what that means.
Yes.
love.
That's what that
Thank you
means.
so much.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a website that we're going to start posting where if people would
Woo!
like to, come on and talk, you can go ahead and register yourself, and it's free. It's free for now.
For
So
now.
you can always go. You can always register yourself, and then we can come talk and whatever you want to do. And it's not just conversations about what's happening in the community. If you want to promote your business, you can come promote your business, show us your products. If you have an event going on, if you want to come promote your event, we're glad to do that, because this is for the community. So we want to make sure that, you know, you have all the resources that are at hand. We also know a lot of professionals that provide mental health, that provide female care, things like that. So it's always, if you always need help, we can always search. We can always look it up for you. So always contact us if you need anything. We'll do our best. We're not, I mean, we do have lives and things like going on, but we will do our best to aid you. So thank you so much for joining us again. Dr. Taffy and I, we are grateful for everyone that comes on. We are grateful for your time. We're grateful for your kindness. We see your feedback, and we just really appreciate it. We really enjoy what we do with Zim Ladies. So thank you for continuing on with us on this journey.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.